Hello, hello, hello. I'm back again. Your main man, the real Bill Real. I'm going to break down some things today and give you a better understanding of the snow job that's in effect, the railroading that's in effect, the lack of common sense that's in effect, the lack of honor from black people and from white people too, and from all Americans. I just want to expose just how stupid Americans are. I'm tired of showing you guys simple things. It's time to pull off everything. All gloves coming off, everything's coming off today. So sit back, get your popcorn. I'm about to explain to you what's really happening.
Today we call Sybrina Fulton.
All right. Now, here is a despicable human being. His name is Bernie Delarianda. And he's about to call Sybrina Fulton into the courtroom. And what she's about to do is she's about to come up to the stand and she's about to go into telling her rendition of things. But as a concerned person, I feel that it is my job to show everyone what's really going on. I've been doing this in my videos ever since last year, shortly after this whole entire story broke. And there was something in my spirit that told me that it was bull doo-doo. So let's break it down and let's show you why I say it is what it is. Now, she's a liar, and I want to show you just before we get started that she's wearing pearls today because she's going to talk about tattoos that Trayvon has on his arm. Praying hands that have pearls intertwined in them. That's why she's wearing pearls here, and pearls for her earrings. Okay? So I just want to establish that information off top. Okay? Now, during the whole entire time, watch her face. Her face never changes from this. Even as she's going to hear the horrific screams of George Zimmerman being attacked and battered by her violent, thugged out son that she had kicked out of the house 3 times in a 4-month span. This face here, notice this face before we get started. You're not going to see one tear drop from it. She's a cold, calculated, lying woman. There's no other way to say it. There's no way to sugarcoat this, black people, white people, whoever, Hispanics. I don't care who you are. There's no way to coat this. There's no way for us to keep making excuses for pure evil and lies. But let's get going. Let's watch her, what she's going to say.
That the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Now, I want to show you something that the defense is doing that most people don't pick up on. This lady here stands up whenever there is an African American woman here. I'm calling them an African American. I know they're not African Americans. They're really Israelites. But for the sake of most people who don't understand this truth, I'm just going to refer to them as African Americans. This woman here for the defense stands up every single time any African American woman comes into the court. Just want you to understand that. And she's doing that for the sake of the jury who's sitting right here. Okay? But watch this liar as she goes to the stand and watch what she says. Now, notice the body language of these two people. This is what liars look like. Look at his body language. Look at how his face looks. Look at how her face looks. Okay? This is George Zimmerman's sister here.
Judge, can we approach the bench?
Yes, you may.
Now, he's asking the judge to approach the bench because he wants to get certain information blocked from being discussed. If people cannot see the shenanigans that are involved in this case, they simply have no idea of what they are looking at any given moment. There should be nothing that's off the table. She's the mother. She's the main one that has caused this whole entire case to be what it is right now because of her lie to the mayor, I believe Mayor Triplett, in Sanford, listening to the tapes, knowing good and well that it was not her son screaming. But he's going to approach the bench because he wants to cover for her. Let's watch what he does. Before we even get started.
It's him that just counterbalances, if you will, Sybrina Fulton's anticipated testimony. So now I wouldn't call the father to the stand because he's equivocated.
As we look now, the camera zooming in on Sybrina Fulton, you can see in her eyes, I'm certain she hasn't gotten much sleep as this.
Yeah, right. They're saying that she hasn't gotten much sleep. She's looking out over the courtroom, and she is really disturbed in her spirit because she does go to church and she does know that she's supposed to tell the truth. She sits up under a dead ministry, okay? I'm pretty sure she's sitting up under some Christian church, up under a Masonic pastor who's lying to her. They're in full-blown idolatry. She's living two lives right now. She goes home every day and she realizes that she's created a crap storm with her lie, with her denial that her son caused his own death. But I just want to show you how this expression is never going to change the whole entire time. You won't see one tear drop from here or here the whole entire time. Now, we have a little commentary going on, but let's go.
Day was delayed. We thought it would happen on Wednesday. It did not. And so she had the whole fifth day, yesterday, the day off, and then back today.
This man has been persecuted. There's no other word for it but persecuted. We're in court because nobody wanted to take the word of the investigator, any of the two investigators. Nobody wanted to take the word of the police chief. Nobody wanted to take the word of the prosecutor. Nobody wanted to take the word of George Zimmerman. Nobody wanted to take the word of John Good. Nobody wanted to take the word of the little boy who I haven't seen come up yet, who should be coming up for the defense, that says he walked up and saw Trayvon Martin punching up on top of George Zimmerman, punching him. Nobody wants to believe any of the eyewitnesses that called. Nobody wants to believe George's uncle. Nobody wants to believe George's father. Nobody wants to believe George's mother. I just want to show you guys how absurd this is. They want to ignore all evidence. They want to ignore all testimony that exonerates him. Let's go. I just want to show you just how dumbed down you have to be to believe the official story that the mainstream media and their talking heads want to convince you of. That he's wrong because he was in college. He's wrong because he had never heard in mainstream media anybody ever talk about stand your ground. If I went to school, actually I did, went to school for culinary. All right. Now, during that time, I had a book, I had lessons. Now, if somebody asked me, hey, had I ever heard about this recipe? Now, it could have been a recipe that was covered. My instructor talked about it, you know. I just don't really remember it because it was never made a household name based on the media. I never knew it was called that. I never really paid attention to it that much. All right. So this is where the defense wants you to believe. They want you to get into that frame of thinking. They want you to be in an 8th grader's frame of mind. If they can keep you in an 8th grader's frame of mind, where you don't think, where you don't use any common sense, then they'll keep you believing that you need to get after this guy because this guy is so bad. All because he simply defended himself from a vicious thug who was beating him up. That you can hear clearly on the tape. And for all of you people that want to take up for Trayvon Martin and say, oh, well, you know, that was him screaming on the tape. Give me one YouTube video. One where you have Israelite boys, that's also known as black boys, getting beat by one person or getting jumped by several people. And I want you to show me where they were screaming for help. You cannot produce it. I cannot produce any memories in all of my life while I've seen a fight, been in a fight, saw somebody get jumped, and they were screaming help that were Hebrews. I've never seen it. It never happens. One of the reasons why it never happens, and nobody wants to bring up this point, is due to the fact that Hebrews have violence ingrained into them. Or shall I say, they're used to being beat. They're used to being whipped. They're used to being beaten. They're used to being violently assaulted. It's in the blood. Yes, it's in the blood. Which is why you've never heard them say help in a fight. Seen tons of fights, been in a few, never heard me, never even thought about saying help. But this lady who's about to talk in a few minutes, with a straight face, with a straight Scrooge face, is about to tell a grand lie on the stand after she's sworn to tell the truth and persecute this guy because he did a service to all of us. He got rid of a vicious thug who was going to wreak havoc on someone else had he not been shot. He was going to jail. The evidence clearly showed on that night. Broken nose. Had 2 black eyes the next day. He had a couple of lacerations on the forehead. He had 2 lacerations on the back of his head. He had a wet jacket. He was screaming for help and was telling them that he was screaming for help before he knew that there was a recording of it. This stuff is easy, people. For anybody that's going to come and comment on this video, you are admitting that you do not reason well. That's what you're going to be admitting. But let's roll the tape.
Full day yesterday on the 4th, and now on the 5th she is set to testify. And for her, you have to feel for her. She was called to the stand, then a quick sidebar, so now she has to anticipate even more. And I know they've seen George Zimmerman in court, but there he is. And this is a small courtroom. He is not far from the witness stand, and he is now face to face with her. He doesn't appear to be making eye contact with her right now as we look in. He has been wiping what appeared to be sweat off of his brow and around his neck. The anxiousness has built. Let's listen in.
Now watch him skirt all around the pertinent information and attempt to paint some kind of stupid picture that we already know. Anybody that's watching the case knows the basic information he's about to pull out. But let's watch the liar at work.
Ma'am, could you state your name for the record, please?
Sybrina Fulton.
And could you spell your first name and last name?
My first name is Sybrina. My last name is Fulton, Fulton.
Are you married, ma'am?
I'm divorced.
And do you have any children?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us who they are and their names?
My youngest son.
Now watch this.